Hello, this is Newsday. Live from Washington, D.C., I'm Lucy Hockings. The FBI is now investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination attempt on the former President Donald Trump. He is safe following gunshots outside his Florida golf club.
The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. He was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual.
A man was later arrested after his vehicle was stopped on a main road, and we've now heard through US media sources that he's been named as Ryan Routh, a 58-year-old from Hawaii.
Hello, I'm Steve Lai in Singapore, also this hour. Heavy rain continues to lash parts of Central and Eastern Europe, leaving at least 7 people dead and others missing. Public hearings into last year's submersible disaster, which killed 5 people near the wreck of the Titanic, begin this week. And Los Angeles is gearing up for TV's biggest night as the 2024 Emmy Awards takes place later today, with shows like Baby Reindeer and The Bear among the frontrunners.
Hello everyone, welcome to Newsday. I'm Lucy Hockings, live in Washington, D.C., where the FBI is investigating a second assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Lots of details coming to us in the past few hours about what happened. But shots were fired quite close to the former president. He was playing golf with a friend at one of his golf clubs, and there were shots fired. This was in Palm Beach Golf Course, and we've had a news conference from the local sheriff's office who said Secret Service officers spotted, they were ahead of the president, and they spotted an AK-47 rifle poking up out of the bushes, and then they took aim at that suspect. The president was some way back, the former president, at the time, but obviously the attacker then dropped the weapon and tried to get away in a car, and rather remarkably, lots of praise for a witness who actually saw this happen and took a photo of the suspect and his car. He was then pursued by the local police and stopped, and we have just had from US media a confirmation of a name of the suspect. He is Ryan Routh. He's a 58-year-old man from Hawaii. Quite quickly after this happened, there was a statement put out by former President Donald Trump. He said he wanted to stop any spiraling rumors or gossip and to assure people that he was safe and well. There were gunshots in my vicinity, he said, but before the rumors start spiraling, I want you to hear this from me first. I am safe and well. Lots of images starting to come in from around the golf course, and one of the ones that we have is of this image of the suspect. We can see him here when security services surrounded his vehicle. It's been released by the sheriff's office in Martin County. This is northbound on Interstate 95, and it followed this alert. So after the witness took this photo and phoned the police, they were able to look out for this vehicle, stop him, and then the witness was able to confirm that this was the car and the person that he had cited. So details coming into us from Palm Beach County Sheriff, and he's been explaining exactly what happened.
1:30 this afternoon, call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers, and we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background.
So a very active investigation happening right now. The FBI are in charge of that investigation, but we've also been hearing a lot from the local police officials there at the scene. Lots of reaction coming in from right across the United States, including this tweet that we've had from Vice President Kamala Harris. She made a very short statement in which she expressed her relief over the safety of her opponent in the presidential race coming up in a few months' time. And she said, "I have been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Trump and his property in Florida. I am glad he is safe," she said. "Violence has no place in America." Well, let's take you live to West Palm Beach now and join CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides, who is there covering all the developments, and there are lots of them. Christian, what further details are you hearing and are being reported in US media about this suspect, Ryan Ralph?
Okay.
Yeah, we're having a few issues, I think, getting through to Christian, who is in West Palm Beach. As soon as we make contact with him again, we'll join him for all the very latest news updates. But I can bring you a few. We've had some reaction from Donald Trump's children. Eric Trump has been speaking to Fox News and said, "My father is running out of lives here. How many more rifles are going to come within assassination distance of my father?" Reflecting on the fact that this is the second attempt on Donald Trump's life in a matter of months, the other one being in Pennsylvania. You'll remember a few months ago, Donald Trump Jr. also writing a series of tweets in which he has linked this incident with left-wing propaganda. So that is coming to us from the Trump family. And Tim Walz, who is Kamala Harris's running mate, has also said he's glad to hear that Donald Trump is safe. "Violence has no place in our country," he has put on X. It is not who no place in our country, he has put on X. It is not who we are. So lots of political leaders from right across the spectrum just reflecting on how relieved they are that Donald Trump is safe and saying that violence has no place in the country. So just to confirm, a Secret Service agent spotted an AK-47 style weapon that was poking out of the bushes on the golf course about a hole ahead of where Donald Trump was playing. He then engaged the suspect. A witness saw the man leave, took down his registration number of his car, took photos, alerted the police, and then he was detained. So we know that that is Ryan Ralph, who is in his 50s, his late 50s, and from Hawaii. And another detail I can bring you, which is interesting, is photos that have been released by the police from the scene in which they show us the weapon, the AK-47, a scope that was on that weapon, and also, interestingly, a GoPro camera, which was found in a backpack. So obviously the suspect was intending to, at some point, film what was going on. And of course, police, FBI are investigating this in a massive way at the moment, and we'll be talking to him, to Ryan Ralph. Let's take you now back to Singapore to Steve, where we'll bring you the rest of the day's news. We'll be back in Washington shortly with all the latest developments.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Lucy. I can just also update our viewers as well that we're following this online as well. Our live page is up and running. Our social media profiles do show some information about the suspect. Reporting from now, our reporters online are saying that his social media profiles show the suspect's pro-Ukraine and conspiratorial posts. So if you'd like to keep up to date with that information, just head over to bbc.com. Our verified team is looking into that one. Now, moving on to some other news now. In Poland is set to declare a state of natural disaster as extreme flooding extends across parts of Central and Eastern Europe, as well as torrential downpours that are forecast to continue until at least the end of Monday. At least 5 people have died in Romania. 1 person drowned in Poland, while in Austria, a firefighter died tackling the floods there. Several people remain unaccounted for in the Czech Republic. Now, some parts of Poland have faced the worst flooding in almost 3 decades, and a bridge collapsed in this historic Polish town near the Czech border. Our Eastern Europe correspondent Sarah Rainsford has the latest from southwest Poland.
The river is raging through Nysa, close to bursting its banks and putting everything in its path under huge pressure. In the town centre, streets have already disappeared under floodwater, just about passable for those determined to struggle home. But the level is rising fast. A few miles away, things are even worse. We couldn't reach Głuchowadze. The family who sent us this video were trapped in their home as the local mayor declared the town was drowning. That's true for a large part of southwestern Poland, at the foot of the mountains after the torrential rains of Storm Boris. There is a giant rescue operation already underway, but residents are being warned to get out before the waters reach their towns, not to risk waiting. In a school that's now a shelter, people are safe but disorientated. They took what they could, now they worry about everything they've left behind.
With the wind, with the rain, man won't win. You can put out the fire, but you can't do anything else. The most important thing is that we're alive. The rest doesn't matter.
Across the border in the Czech Republic, there have been dramatic rescue scenes too. Soldiers and emergency workers winching people to safety. It is treacherous for everyone involved. This man made it to shore, but across Central and Eastern Europe, these floods have already cost lives. And the danger is not receding. In Nysa, soldiers have been drafted in too, in this case, to rescue the rescuers. We've just turned a corner here in Nysa and found this scene, which shows just how serious things are here. The military have just rolled in to try and rescue a fire truck and firefighters and another military truck that's trapped in the water here, and that used to be a road. Now it's impassable, even for ambulances trying to evacuate the local hospital. And everyone here has been warned that there's worse to come. Sarah Rainsford, BBC News, Nysa.
Let's get back to our top story, where the FBI is investigating what it says appears to be a second assassination attempt against the former President Donald Trump. Let's cross over to CBS correspondent Christian Benavides. He's in West Palm Beach in Florida. Christian, get us up to speed with the latest. Now we have a name. What more can you tell us about the suspect?
Well, look, it's quite incredible. What we know about the suspect, according to CBS News sources, is that he has had prior run-ins with law enforcement. What that means, whether he has a prior criminal history or whether he has just been on law enforcement radar or whether he has actually had encounters with law enforcement, we do not know as of yet, but they were somehow aware of him. It's quite incredible that the Secret Service and that this witness were able to spot this individual and that he was able to be brought to custody. Here's what we know about how all of this unfolded at this point. All of it happened around 1:30 p.m. Eastern time here in West Palm Beach. The former president was on the golf course. He was golfing. A Secret Service agent was 2 holes ahead of him and spotted someone with an AK-47. At that point, the Secret Service agent engaged. At that point, the suspect apparently runs from the bushes and into the street, into some sort of vehicle, into a black Nissan, actually, in fact, and is able to speed away. However, prior to him speeding away, there was a witness, somebody who spotted this individual running from the golf course and took down the license plate of that black Nissan. gave that
Okay,
license
Christian,
plate
I'm
to
afraid
law
we're
enforcement.
gonna leave it there for
This,
now. We're having a few
individual,
problems
the
with your
suspect,
audio
was
that's
identified.
causing a bit of concern for us. CBS correspondent Christian Benavides there. We'll see if we can reconnect with him in our later bulletins. Now, around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. You're live with BBC News. Now to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The British Foreign Secretary David Lamy says careful discussions involving the United States are taking place about whether Kyiv will be allowed to fire long-range Western missiles into Russia. President Zelensky has repeatedly urged Western leaders to grant permission, saying it would make the war much more difficult for the Kremlin to prosecute. But Ukraine's allies appear split on the issue. President Putin has warned such a change would amount to direct NATO involvement in war against Moscow. Mick Ryan spent 35 years in the Australian Army, including operational deployments in East Timor, southern Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as serving as a strategist on the United States Joint Staff in the Pentagon. He told me whether allowing Ukraine to fire long-range missiles into Russia would drag the West and NATO directly into the war.
NATO has been supporting Ukraine for 32 months of this war so far, and ever since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. NATO was, already there. Russia has accepted that. And at the end of the day, this is not an escalation to allow Ukraine to use Western missiles appropriately. It's playing catch-up.
And is Ukraine taking the fight into Russian territory a good strategy?
Absolutely. I mean, the laws of war allow a country to attack someone who is posing a threat from military bases and other strategic systems within their country. We should remember here, Russia is the aggressor state. They started this war. Ukraine is trying to end it in a way that sees Russia leave Ukrainian territory.
And what would be your assessment of the support that Ukraine has had to defend itself to date, given that, as you say, we're 2.5 years into this war?
Well, after 32 months, the aid has been much appreciated by the Ukrainians. It's certainly helped, but it's done nothing to help them win this war. At the end of the day, we've seen these discussions on just about every form of equipment provided to Ukraine, whether it was towed artillery, air defence, tanks or F-16s. The interminable delay on providing sufficient quantities of equipment has hurt Ukraine, not helped it.
And how do you see Putin, or how do you think Russia will react if Ukraine is able to use these long-range missiles and take the fight further into Russia?
Well, the reason Putin is complaining is because he knows this will hurt Russia. He appears to have the measure of the US administration. He's able to manipulate them around their terrors over escalation. So I think he'll just continue doing that at this point in time, because he's worried any appropriate use of long-range weapons that have really significant warheads will hurt his military even further.
So if Ukraine are getting support or more support in the aspect of getting more arms from the West, Russia, it seems, also is receiving shipments from Iran, missiles from them. How much does that help them?
Well, it helps them a lot. It helps them to sustain their long-range strikes against Ukraine, which they've been doing since day one of this war. It allows them to attack the Ukrainian troops on the front line with these short and medium-range ballistic missiles that Iran has provided. And it allows them to continue this slow, grinding attack in the Donbass with the ammunition that's been provided by North Korea.
Public hearings into the Titan submersible disaster are set to begin on Monday. The sub, owned by the US company OceanGate, was taking passengers down to the wreck of the Titanic when it imploded, killing all 5 people on board. Rebecca Morell has more.
It was the sub that promised the trip of a lifetime, a chance to see the Titanic. But OceanGate's Titan sub suffered a catastrophic failure, killing all 5 people on board. Now a public hearing will try to answer some key questions. Did the passengers have any warning something was going wrong? Those who died were British explorer Hamish Harding, Suleiman Dawood and his father, British-Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, French diver P.H. Nargiolais and Stockton Rush, OceanGate's CEO. A communications log could show if there were signs Titan was failing. But deep-sea experts like Victor Vescovo had serious safety concerns. He'd taken his friend Hamish Harding on a dive to see the Mariana Trench. He'd warned Hamish about OceanGate's sub.
I told him in no uncertain terms that he should not get in the submersible. And I'll never forget, he told me he thought that it was safe enough. And I said, Hamish, I'm not sure what else I can say after that. I wouldn't go if I were you. And he really, really wanted to see the Titanic.
A crucial question is which part of the submersible failed. This is a full-sized model of the Titan sub. There were significant issues with different parts of its design. Concerns had been raised about its viewport and whether it could cope with the pressure at the bottom of the Atlantic. The central area where the passengers were is called the pressure hull. Most subs are spherical, so the effects of the immense forces are evenly spread. But this was cylindrical. This section was made from carbon fibre, a material that's unpredictable at depth and would have been weakened by every previous dive the sub had made. Then there were the titanium end rings, which connected different parts of the sub together. But these junctions between metal and carbon fibre could have created weak points.
The OceanGate contraption was an aberration. The thing was so amateurish in its execution. The ideas that I saw, many of which were really half-baked, just led me to believe that thing's actually never going to dive.
So how was Titan allowed to dive? The sub wasn't assessed by an independent safety assessment. It's not mandatory. OceanGate's Stockton Rush said he didn't need a piece of paper to show Titan was safe. Oisin Fanning, who made the last dives before the disaster, said the team was safety conscious, but he didn't know Titan hadn't been certified.
I would be lying if I said I didn't think that it conformed with certain norms. We all knew that the Titan was experimental. We were very confident because obviously there'd been a few dives before that and seemed to be working well. So really, you didn't dwell too much on the danger.
The hearings will last for 2 weeks. This investigation should stop a disaster like this from happening again. Rebecca Morell, BBC News.
Now it's one of television's big nights with the Emmy Awards taking place in Los Angeles. Emma Vardy has the latest from the red carpet.
Well, the red carpet is really heating up right now. It's just got incredibly busy with all the stars just sweeping in, all hoping that they're going to be walking away with an Emmy this evening. The Brits tonight are hoping to do pretty well. In the running, we have Slow Horses, the spy drama starring Gary Oldman. This is a series which has become more popular now with American audiences as well as the UK audiences, and it's getting that recognition now with its Emmy nominations tonight. It's in for Best Drama among a number of others, but there is other competition, of course, from other British dramas too. The Crown is in its 6th and final series. It's got some nominations for its final series of that royal drama, so it will be competing with Slow Horses. But the other one that everybody was talking about a few months ago and really kind of set the internet on fire, of course, was Baby Reindeer. This was an almost overnight success. Baby Reindeer. This was an almost overnight success, a show that people really hadn't heard that much of when it was released, and all of a sudden it just created so much intrigue. Of course, it was about an obsessive stalker and about sexual abuse, and what happened in the aftermath of that series going on Netflix was that audiences tried to start doing internet detective work and trying to work out who the real-life characters were that this show was based on, and this show, of course, claimed to be a true story. So, as a result of all that fallout, there's legal battles going on, but tonight they are hoping to do well on the red carpet and kind of enjoy their success. So we'll have to see how those British shows do against some of the big American hits.
Yeah, Emma, Baby Radio really did sort of take life on beyond the screen as well. Tell us a bit about Shogun, if you could. It's a surprise, given it's mostly in Japanese.
Yeah, that's right. That's been a bigger hit for American audiences rather than in the UK, but it's got the most Emmy nominations this evening of all the shows, so you'd expected them to walk away with a whole clutch of those gold trophies. We've just seen some of the stars of Shogun coming in behind us, some absolutely beautiful dresses tonight on the red carpet. And of course, this isn't just a night to sort of take away the prestige, but it's about rubbing shoulders with people. It's about the conversations people get to have on the red carpet. And of course, you've got all the publicists running around too, trying to get their actors in front of the camera crews and get them onto the American networks to kind of raise their profile too. So there's a lot going on tonight, not just the awards and not just the parties afterwards, but it's a really important moment for a lot of people who walk down this red carpet.
Well, that's all for now. Do stay with BBC News. See you soon.
Hello there. Well, we've seen plenty of sunshine throughout the weekend, also a few outbreaks of rain for some, but that is the last of the wet weather that we'll see for quite a few days yet, because for much of next week it's looking dry and settled, high pressure dominant, more sunshine, and it will feel warmer by day and milder by night too. Just watch out for the possibility of some rather murky mornings with mist and fog patches developing, especially where the winds stay light. Now here's that area of high pressure building in from the southwest. It's centred more or less right over the UK as we head through Monday, deflecting these low pressure systems out towards the north and the west. Now, as we head into Monday morning itself, there'll be some mist and fog, particularly for northwest England, southwest Scotland perhaps. It's milder towards the south with that legacy of cloud for a while, coolest out towards the north and the east, but a whole range of temperatures as we start off the day. Now, the mist and the fog will readily lift and clear as we head through the morning, and there'll be plenty of sunshine around, lots of blue skies. High cloud turning the sunshine hazy at times, more of a breeze out towards the far south and the east. We could see one or two very isolated showers for Kent, but it's still unlikely. More cloud for Northern Ireland later on through the day, and temperatures in the high teens, the low 20s, 21 degrees Celsius for parts of central and eastern England. It's close to the seasonal average. And then on Tuesday, well, we could see any mist and fog really across parts of Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, down through the East Midlands, more of a northeasterly wind for East Anglia, southeast England here, and a bit more in the way of cloud for northwest Scotland. But with a southwesterly wind blowing, then for parts of the Moray Firth, the Highlands, temperatures could reach 21 or 22 degrees Celsius, so certainly feeling warm here. Wednesday and Thursday, our area of high pressure starts to meander further northwards and eastwards. It's still dry towards the north. Towards the south, we'll see more of an easterly breeze take hold, but it is going to be feeling warm here. Again, there's a more noticeable northeasterly blowing, windy through the channel perhaps, but 24 degrees Celsius in central southern England and southeast England. And again, 21 or 22 Celsius for those sheltered areas of Scotland. So here's the outlook for our capital cities then as we head through the week. There's a lot of sunshine around, it's dry and it's settled. We could potentially see a few showers break out on Friday. Bye-bye.
The day's most important stories, sent every weekday direct to your inbox. Go to bbc.co.uk/newsdaily and sign up now.
Whether you're in Washington, Wisconsin, or even back in the UK,
we take you behind the scenes, explaining US news, culture, and the era-defining presidential election.
Americast, a BBC News podcast untangling America. Listen on BBC Sounds.
You get scared?
No, I don't get scared. I've covered many wars over many years.
It bothers me to think about North Korean surveillance.
Anything left on a shred of paper or my laptop, could it put somebody else's life at risk?
It was always going to be a history-making election.
This is not the time to stumble over my words. My job is to expose how people are targeted because I'm a reporter who can do that.
Behind the stories. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
The art of good conversation is to say the right thing at the right time and in the right way. You have to be original, sympathetic, encouraging, and also keep an open mind. And you really do just need to sit back and listen.
Katty Kay meets with legendary Olympic champions to find out what it takes to reach the top.
Influential with me, Katty Kay. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Boeing faces yet another setback as thousands of workers go on strike in Seattle and Portland. Plus, we discuss the challenges facing the media industry with the boss of the Wall Street Journal. Hi there, thanks for joining me here on Business Today. I'm Steve Lai. Now we begin with Boeing, where thousands of its workers went on strike on Friday after union members at the firm's West Coast factories overwhelmingly rejected a contract offer from the firm, which included a 25% pay rise over 4 years. Greg Waldron of Flight Global explained how the company is navigating this latest setback.
Certainly coming at a terrible time for the company because, they really were trying to rejig their 737 production after, the issues they had with the Alaska door blowout last year. So there was a real effort to undergo that. And also there's some critical issues around,